Good evening and welcome. It's a late one tonight. And part of the reason is creating a little workability about a plan that I have for doing 10 short integrity conversations. And tonight starts at those first 10. And the conversation tonight is the integrity of seeding your garden. Okay, what does that look like? Well, one, we're going to kind of use it a little bit as an analogy for your life. And inside of that, talk a little bit about how are you clearing your garden? If you're looking at your garden when you're starting in the spring, what there is to do is to go in and first till up the ground, get it loose, get all the dirt loose, pull all the weeds, perhaps turn in a little bit of manure, a little bit of fertilizer into the dirt and mix it in so that it's ready. The soil is completely filled with nutrition. You might even need to add a little water to make it easier to turn. Then there's a process of looking at what do we want to plant in the garden? How do we want to set it? How do we want to space it so that it works out? So we have to look at what are we going to do vegetables? What kinds? How are we going to be harvesting them so they come up and they grow at different times? So being responsible for that. I remember one year, all of a sudden the garden was full and it was then overgrown. And once we pulled out the harvest of the vegetables that were in there, it was empty and sat pretty much was a mess. Now, it wasn't responsible for what we planted and how we planted it. And along the way, what I learned was that if we could stagger the growth of certain plants, we could have a crop that would pass away and the next crop would come in because it took a little longer for it to grow. It took a little longer for it to reach its harvest. So I created a conversation with the landscape and gardening company and place where I purchased the flowers and the vegetables, and they shared with me the proper time that the harvesting would happen. Of course, it's not exact, but very close. And then they also said one of the things that people do along the way is they don't weed. So here we are going along with our garden and give it water and it grows and the weeds grow and we never get out there and pull the weeds. So the weeds take up space, they starve, they eat nutrients. And so sometimes if we're not weeding along the way, we're stealing nutrients from our crop, and our crop suffers, doesn't grow as healthy as is possible, doesn't grow as large as is possible. And then my favorite, and there's actually, for those of you that are Christian and want to look and follow along, there's a story in Matthew in chapter 13 that talks about weeding and talks about planting and seed. And that's what a little bit has inspired me for today at my Bible study earlier today, is that I saw how important is the integrity of your garden. How important is it to be managing the lines of seed? How important is it to manage the ground that it's going into? How important is it to weed along the way and water? And I just looked at, when I was creating for tonight and looking for the conversation for, what do I want to create as my integrity broadcast for tonight, is how often in my life, if my life is my garden, how often am I clearing my garden, cleansing, purging? How often am I then looking at what am I planting every day, every week, every month, every year into my garden? And what are the steps along the way to clear out the weeds of my life? And I thought this would be a very good conversation for people to look at for themselves, to check out, to dig in to their own life, open it up a little bit. And compared to a couple of the integrity conversations I've had recently, this one's very simple, and I think a little profound. I look forward to hearing any comments you might have, or any questions or thoughts or concerns that pop up and you want a little support around that. Please enter those in the comments, send me a text, reach out. Look forward to connecting. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being a participant in the game of integrity of life.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
If you have any struggles in your business or your personal life, Les is your guide.
He's logical, he's empathetic, he has passion for helping people, and his ideas are genuinely thoughtful.
So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.